Jeremy Hill holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill on a Friday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I'm Hunt Palmer, he is Hill. Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Friday lunch hour brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans. We'll talk to Ryan Schimpf in 30 minutes. Jeremy's lead toss coming at the top of hour number 2. Lots of NFL stuff to get to as they got on the field last night for some preseason action. Of course, some LSU camp talk. Mr. Hill, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Football season, things move fast, man. So I got to get used to this new pace. The week flew by.
Look, Jimmy Ott's back. So, I mean, anything can happen. He's been gone for months, years maybe, and he's back in action. If you were listening this morning to the Off the Bench show, at the end of the show, I talked about how I spilled my drink all over my shirt this morning. I did it twice, and T-Bob said I needed to go home. I decided not to. It's kind of faded a little bit, but if you're listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, there is a significant stain there. But we're going to power through it here on a Friday because we do have tons of football to talk about. And we get to make fun of A&M in the second hour, which is always a treat this time of year, really any time of year. But I wanted to start, Jeremy, kind of with a thought of where NFL guys are and where college football players are right now at this stage of camp. Saints will play their first preseason game tomorrow. We'll certainly preview that a little bit later, but it sounds like most of the vets aren't going to play in that game. Just some guys fighting for roster spots and maybe auditioning for other teams at this point will play. LSU has put on the pads for the first time, kind of gone through a scrimmage, and they're in the throes of it right now, early mornings, late nights. We'll talk about both levels, but we'll start with the college aspect of things. Are they sick of camp yet after a week, or you still got the juices flowing?
Yeah, I think you start getting it about right now. I think really them changing it up, really not pounding each other every single day with the full pads, and you're really just hitting each other time and time again, hitting the same guys. NFL is great because you get a nice little change up. Sometimes you get those inter-squad scrimmages, and then you get the preseason games with college. It's just a new level because you're hitting the same guys every single day. You got to block these guys over and over, and it gets to a point you just want a little change up. So, yeah, right now is when those thoughts start to creep in a little bit. But what keeps it intriguing is guys who haven't earned their starting spot. They got to keep going. So you'll keep a little fire bit as you get to these dog days.
Do you guys ever, in college or in the NFL, start to genuinely dislike a teammate because they go against them every single day? Like it's not even like a joke anymore. Like, I really don't like you at all.
Yeah, you get that. It's mostly with the linemen because they're pushing on each other every single day, and you just get tired of pushing on the same guy. So yeah, you see that disdain for especially the offensive line. Those guys really don't like each other, and then as you kind of get closer to the season, all that stuff kind of goes in the rearview window. But right now, the strongest it'll be is about right now in camp.
It's interesting because y'all were doing 2-a-days. They're not really doing that anymore. It's a little bit of a different vibe. There's a lot more that goes into the safety of players and keeping bodies fresh than just grinding out junction boys style out there on the field like Les would like to do. But what players used to tell us when we covered the team was like, first 2 weeks it's okay, but that third week, like, you're not really close to the game. You're not really game planning. You're just going over install and stuff that you've done and repped for 2 weeks. It's still ridiculously hot. It's just that's a week where I think if you're a coach, you try to pull out the ice cream truck shows up or the snowball truck shows up, or you get a day off and go to the water park or whatever it might be. Like something, you got to mix something up in there because apparently in week 3 it's just it's a slog.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I think that's when all the little nicks and knacks start creeping up, your shoulder, your knee. Something's got to go wrong in those first 2 weeks of going in full pads. And so no one's body's feeling great. Like you said, it's hot. It's 90 plus out there with the humidity. And you're hitting and you're hitting and you're hitting and you're hitting. And so it gets to a point like, man, all this hitting has to come to fruition with something. And it's not hitting my teammate again. So you get ready to pop the pads against somebody else.
I know there are vet days in the NFL. Like Ryan Ramczyk didn't practice yesterday because he didn't really need to practice yesterday. Does that happen at all in college? Can you get to a status in college where you get a vet day?
Oh, no way. No way, Jose. No matter who you are, especially Les Miles, you're going to be out there. There's no such thing. No way.
I'm thinking about like Leonard Fournette his junior year. The guy's like, first team All-American, guaranteed first round pick. He's a running back. I mean, it's not as if there's super intricate stuff going on there for him that he's got to figure out. He's out there working. All right, the NFL guys, first preseason game coming up this week for every weekend for everybody, unless you played last night. What's the energy like for that first preseason game? I'm assuming the vets and guys have sweatshirts on, but what's the vibe like for the guys who are trying to make the team? Can you sense it?
Oh, yeah, you definitely can. And I think for the vets, it's so monotonous. You're so annoyed by it because the last thing you want to do is get nicked up and get banged up in a meaningless preseason game. And so the vets are kind of just, they're over it. But for all the younger guys, especially the guys who are trying to make the roster, this is prime time for them. They get to finally play under the lights. You get to prove yourself out there against another team. And so it's kind of, the young kids are, bright-eyed and ready to go. The vets are just over it at that point.
Is there, certainly for us, the consumer, the preseason game, because it looks like a real game, is more interesting to us? As far as watching film, what the coaches emphasize, do they emphasize the game against another team more than they would reps in practice? I mean, is showing up and making plays in a preseason game a bigger deal than it would be if you were just doing it in practice?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think to get to the game itself, you got to prove yourself in practice. So if you're out there in practice, not knowing what you're doing, messing up, they're not going to play. You're not going to be around very long. So NFL, you got to do it every single day, and then kind of the preseason games are the icing on the cake. And so you're only going to get so many reps, no matter where you are on the roster in those first games. And then you're also you're not game planning at all. You're just running your stuff and your little installs in those weeks. So they kind of want to see, how well the stuff and how well you can go out there and perform it.
Drew Brees was famous for taking all the reps. He wanted all the reps in practice. He wanted as many preseason reps as they would go. Sean Payton would have to back him down a little bit. He wanted all the reps. Do you remember any guys that you played with that were vets that actually wanted to be out there in the preseason?
Man, I'm trying to think, man.
He's a little different.
I don't know many more volunteers going out there in those meaningless games, and it's just weird because even if you light it up for 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. So it's like you get to that point. I remember my rookie year. I think the last preseason game, I had like 20 carries, 100-something yards. I'm like, man, I just took all these hits, and it doesn't even kind of go right back to 0 week 1. So, I mean, you kind of get that fairly quickly. So, no, I can't remember one vet just volunteered, hey, let me get more preseason reps.
I mean, but you got that experience. All I have to go off of is Hard Knocks, and that's my only exposure to camp. I've never been to one. I don't have a team that I follow religiously. So Hard Knocks is kind of my only look into it. And I remember watching different episodes of Hard Knocks, different seasons of Hard Knocks, where the coaches were, like, really coaching in the fourth quarter to try to win games. And I'm like, man, like, I understand wanting to perform well, like that's certainly, but like trying to win the game, everyone out here is too smart for that. Like everyone knows that doesn't matter. Yeah. It's the same. Like, did Bill want to win preseason games?
No, you definitely want to win. But every coach that I've ever been a part of, if there's any situation in the fourth quarter of those games and you have a chance to tie it, no one is doing that. So if you're down 3 and you're driving it to end the game, guess what? The clock's going to run out on you, buddy. And if it's tied and maybe we're both 6, it's 7-6 and we're going for 2. Like no one wants to be out there any more than the next guy, especially at that point in the fourth quarter of a lot of those preseason games. Unfortunately, a lot of those guys that are playing at that point aren't going to be on the roster. Right. So you're just, let's get out of there.
Exactly. So and I saw this stat this morning, which knocked me off my feet. Like I can't believe this stat. The Ravens have won 21 straight preseason games. I mean, you got guys that are getting cut. You got guys, that are never going to make the roster. I mean, trying to experiment with some stuff. You figure 21 in a row. That's how would you? That's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal, and it lets you just see. To me, that goes to how well they've drafted, because a lot of those guys are going to be your undrafted free agents. Yeah. You bring in a lot of your rookies that are playing in those games, and a lot of guys you bring in that you think are fringe roster guys that could possibly make it. They're doing good. We're getting those guys from the roster too. So yeah, you got to give the Ravens credit. That's something that I don't think you're ever going to see again. That's just phenomenal. But yeah, I don't think many other teams are trying to go that route in the preseason.
Let's go with Citizens Bank poll question. I'm workshopping this one live on the air. Going to be something to the effect of like, how much interest do you have in preseason games? Can't miss it. We'll turn it on. Absolutely zero. Like that's, look, if I'm, I love watching LSU baseball practice. Everybody knows that. I can't wait to go watch that and kind of evaluate what's going on and what guys look like. Mm-hmm. I'm certain there are a lot of NFL fans that can't wait to check out what the guy that they drafted looks like or who might make the team. I mean, Moscona talks about it all the time on his show. He's a junkie for like the last 3 guys on the NFL roster. Like, how are you going to fill it out? Who's going to make that roster? Because on Sunday, just about everybody plays besides maybe the backup quarterback. And we were talking about that earlier this week. So That's very interesting to him. And I think there's some people like, I couldn't care less about this. And then there's some people that are going to look, as I did today, at the lines, because there are point spreads and you can bet on these games if you absolutely lost your mind. So I guess betting on the Ravens money line the last 21 times would have been a good play. But I'm fascinated to see kind of what in our listenership, what the preseason football interest is. Maybe you just want to watch football because that's something I'd rather as opposed to Little League baseball or the basketball tournament that's been taking up our television for the last about last month. I mean, what's your this weekend? Are you going to watch some NFL this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch a little bit. I think for me, I like watching the younger guys, so it was kind of cool to see Malik Willis last night, pulling it down and making some plays. So I think for a lot of the fans who may have interest, especially some of those teams who really haven't played well during the regular season, they're going to be looking to see some of those high draft picks and see how they look out there, their first chance to see them in uniform. So I think it's more of the sunshine rainbow effect with the preseason. Everyone thinks their guy's going to go have a Pro Bowl year, and I think that's why you'll see some people have interest. But for the most part, people want the real football in September.
I think the biggest draw to a preseason is if you have a veteran starting quarterback and you've drafted a new one. The exact Titan situation where you know that Tannehill's not playing last night, so you're going to get as much Malik Willis as they want, and that's interesting to see what you've got. If you have a franchise quarterback and you've got some guy that's never going to play, it doesn't make it quite as captivating. So I'm curious to see what the results of that poll is. We'll get to it at the end of the show. I want to remind you that 104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust hope to add to your football party budget this year with a $5,000 national grand prize or a $1,000 local cash prize. Register for a chance to win at 1045ESPN.com. We want to wish you all best of luck. Happy tailgating from Citizens Bank and Trust and 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Ryan Shem's going to be with us in 20 minutes talking about the Field of Dreams game, which the Cubs won last night. That thing's really cool. We're going to talk to Shem about that and a little bit of baseball. But in the next segment, the Saints and the Texans will do battle tomorrow over in Houston. Get you ready for that next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
Jimmy Ott and Charles Henniger for the next edition of Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Rouge Creole and Perkins Row. Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field here on a Friday lunch hour, brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans. We'll be with Ryan Schimpf in 15 minutes, but I want to talk some Saints and Texans. They will tee it up tomorrow in Houston in RG Stadium. And Dennis Allen spoke with the media yesterday and basically said, look, we know who is playing and who's not, but we haven't told them yet, so we're not going to tell y'all. But I wouldn't expect to see really any of the vets getting significant time tomorrow. So the question is, what can you draw from this? Your quarterback's not going to be out there. A lot of your high draft picks are not going to be out there. Your starters, for the most part, will not play. So what do you look for in the ball game tomorrow? For me, the first thing, and I realize I just said most of your high draft picks aren't going to be out there. Trevor Penning, I believe, is, because I don't think he's a starter right now. So I would expect to see a lot of Trevor Penning at left tackle. Now, he's not going to be facing an all-pro pass rusher, but you'd like to see him out there. We know that he's raw. We know that he's physical. I think that there's something to gain from watching Trevor Penning tomorrow. What do you expect to see from the big fella?
Yeah, I expect to see a lot of intensity, a lot of passion, maybe a little bit after the whistle, but I think he'll rein that in. Doesn't want to get too many 15-yard penalties, but yeah, I think for him, watching him early on, just get him out there, get him against some of those NFL guys. He probably won't be going against the top-tier edge rushers like you said, but you still want to just get him out there playing in the NFL and getting those, getting that cobweb dust off every time. You got to have those butterflies in your stomach, going out there for the first time. So getting all that knocked off and just seeing how he performs, I'm going to be tuned in to kind of watch how he performs out there because I think he can be a player. Anything? I mean, that's number one for me. Can you think of anything that comes to the forefront more interesting with the preseason game than Penning? I guess the next thing with Jameis, like I said, that was my concern going into this thing. Anytime you're coming off an injury and you're going to the season injured, not being able to really train, you're going into the season doing rehab, injury is always still going to be on the forefront there. So I'm going to be looking at Ian Book a little bit. I'm going to be looking at Dalton, kind of seeing how they run that offense and seeing, what rapport they have with the receivers that are going to be out there. So I guess that's probably be the most important thing, how these backup quarterbacks play. Curious to see how much play Dalton gets. I would imagine you'll see a ton of Ian Book. You've invested a draft pick in him. He's on the roster for another year. Was not ready to go last year when you called on him in the Dolphins game. That was pretty evident. But another year, another turn to see if you got an athletic guy who maybe can carve out a future as a backup on your roster. So I think he'll be out there a ton. That is something that I'll be curious to see tomorrow. I don't think you're going to see a ton of Andy Dalton. That's just my thoughts, especially Jameis, as you mentioned, coming off injury and hurt again. I think that Book will get the majority of the run in the game. Running back is really interesting, and I look at this guarded because last year we really thought that Tony Jones Jr. looked great in the preseason games, and there just wasn't any production to go back with it in the regular season. He was basically a non-factor for the majority of the season. It's less of an issue now that we know that Alvin Kamara's court date's been pushed back, and we'll see when the suspension comes this year, if it comes this year.
But when you thought he was probably going to miss like the first half of the season, you really need some running backs to step up. Now that you know you're confident you're going to have him at the beginning of the season, unless the NFL just steps in and says, "Hey, shield stuff, sit down." That's always a possibility. But if they don't do that, then he's going to be your guy getting the majority of the carries. But Abram Smith is a guy that a lot of people like. They think that he's a really good athlete and maybe can find a niche on this team. The Saints have been brilliant at bringing in undrafted guys to run the football. Pierre Thomas and Chris Ivory, and the list kind of goes on and on. And Abram Smith may be the next guy. But I'll be curious to see kind of what the running backs look like.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge for the Saints. We know how important Alvin Kamara has been for this team in the run game and in the pass game. I think that's a sneaky thing that kind of goes underrated. Just having that security blanket, you can just get the ball out quick too, and he can make stuff happen. So, not knowing what he's going to be doing during the latter half of the season, which I think is the most important part. You want to make sure you got guys in there that can, make sure the offense doesn't take too big of a drop off. And so I agree with you. I want to see what Abram can bring to this offense. I know a lot of people were high on Tony Jones last year. That didn't really come into fruition. So seeing that, and really to me, I know Mark Ingram, the player he is, I know he's going to give it everything he has, but do you want him getting 20 carries, 15 plus carries week in and week out? So we're going to have to see what these young guys can bring to the team.
Nope. Side note, we were talking to, I can't remember who it was a couple of weeks ago, and the question was, do you think that the running back targets in the Saints offense are going to go down significantly now that Drew Brees is not there at the end of his career, and then with Sean Payton out the door? I mean, towards the end, Brees was just dumping the ball to Kamara at a ridiculous rate, and I think with Jameis's arm strength, his ability to push the ball down the field, maybe want to take some more chances with a really good wide receiver core that wasn't necessarily there last year. Do you think the running back position kind of takes a step back in terms of pass catching this year for the Saints?
I think so. I think especially, if you take Alvin out of the situation, if he's going to get 4 games, 6 games, who knows? But the second he's out of the equation, I don't think any of those guys really that fits their mold of what they do as NFL backs. And I think, really the only guy that really has a chance is Tony Jones. But like we saw last year, that's really not proven. So that's going to be a big thing that Coach Carmichael's going to have to figure out, because we know just how big of an influence he has, Alvin Kamara has on the passing game. So I think without him in the fold, you lose that all in totality.
One thing I'm kind of low key looking at in the Saints game tomorrow, Will Lutz missed a year, coming off an injury. Kickers are finicky. I every time I talk kicking, I relate it to my golf swing. It's like, some days it's there and it's good, and you got it rolling and you're feeling really comfortable with it, and then sometimes something's not quite right and it's hard to get it back. And I'm curious, after a year outside the lights, dealing with injuries, trying to come back, what does Will Lutz look like? And my assumption is that he will be out there kicking tomorrow. I guess he's a vet and they don't necessarily have to send him out there, but I certainly would. And I'm curious to see what he looks like. He goes out there and pulls a couple of 41-yarders. You got an issue on your hands here. Now, we don't have Sean Payton, who gets rid of these guys like it's a bodily function, but we do have, I think, a little bit of intrigue there, no?
No, I think you definitely got to pay attention to Will Lutz. And we know just the infinity Sean Payton had last year for all those bonehead kickers who won the game and missed kick. So you got to make sure that's figured out. I think they'll have a little more leash this year. My boy Will's going to have a little more leash. So even if he doesn't get out to the hottest starts, I think I trust him as a kicker to get the job done. So, yeah, you got to make sure Lutz is back to rolling and doing what he does.
Just thinking about Sean Payton watching the first Saints game that a kicker, whether it's Lutz or whoever, misses a kick and him not having his head explode. That guy, the level of vitriol for kickers, that guy was a special thing for over a decade.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't go Urban Meyer levels, but it's pretty close, man. It's pretty close.
I don't think he kicked anybody or just verbally berated them. Those stories about Urban Meyer, when he's going up to the kicker being like, "Oh, make your kicks," like just verbally abusing them. Well, what? This could be a whole segment on Urban Meyer. That's the worst hire in NFL history.
Oh, it's close. It's close.
What's worse? What's worse than that?
Look, when you kick a guy and say, "Hey, why'd you kick me?" Because I can, because I'm the head coach. that's next level narcissism.
You hired a guy who but he won because he was a ridiculous recruiter and had better players than everybody else, and 2, did it with an authoritarian dictator-like presence in the locker room with college kids. And you tossed him in there with a bunch of guys who make more money than him and don't need him around, and you thought that was going to work? And then he goes and starts kicking kickers and making it just, what an absolute
And then he
disaster.
brings in Tim Tebow, who hasn't played football in like 8 years.
To play tight end, to play a different position. And then you got, somebody needs to write a book about the Jaguars. You got Shad Khan buying the place. You got pools in the end zone. They're playing games in London, trying to move the team. And then you got Urban Meyer coming in. And then somehow, some way, 4 years ago, they pop up and they're winning in the second half of an AFC Championship game.
Man, the NFL's wacky. Man.
That is, you know what that is? We're totally off the rails here. That is an indictment on the Detroit Lions. Even the Jaguars, who cannot do anything right ever, managed to get to the AFC Championship game, and the Lions, in the history of their franchise, have won one playoff game. Like, you can screw everything up and win a couple of playoff games, and the Lions can't even do that.
Look, it's crazy, man. Look, well, yeah, I think that deserves a full 30 for 30. They need a nice deep dive. I want to hear from all the people who don't have anything to say anymore, like to save what Urban Meyer, because that's still fascinating. I play with a bunch of guys who play with them. They never really say, man, Urban was just, they kind of just don't say anything. I want to hear from the NFL guys.
Talk to some guys who played for Bobby Petrino in Atlanta.
Yeah,
they'll
I could
speak
imagine
up
that.
real quick. And I actually know a couple of guys that played for him at Louisville, and they love him. But the guys who had him in Atlanta, I mean, McClure will talk about it, like, not great. And that's the deal with these college coaches when they go up there. If you get the jerk college coach who thrives on being the tip of the tip of the spear and being the top of the food chain, and you put him in there with a bunch of pros, like, it's just not gonna take. If you get a college coach, it's got to be Pete Carroll, who's having fun and high energy and wants to be around the guys, not the guy who just wants to dominate the locker room. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not how it works. And like I said, I've been around some coaches, and the coaches who can get away with a little extra, curse words, a little extra, bass in their voice. You got to win a lot of football games. You got to be a proven commodity, and you can get away with that. But if you're the first-year college coach who hasn't coached one single NFL game, and you break that off and starting out with kicking guys and saying I'm the coach and I'm this and I'm that, and you're bringing in, weightlifting coaches who are choking players, and they're like, he's just out of control. And like, that deserves its own 30 for 30.
Have you heard the story about Steve Spurrier's first practice with the Redskins?
I did not hear that story.
So you'll appreciate that as a guy who went through college practices and went through NFL practices. They break stretches and they're going to practice, and he's like, all right, offensive guys that field, defensive guys that field, and wants to split. And one of his coordinators like, hey, coach, we all practice on the same field. Everybody's got to be together. We don't send everybody over there. We don't have 5 fields working at once like a college where we got special teamers over there, got the linebacker. Everybody's going to be together today.
Look, you would think you'd have that figured out. I mean, it's not like they had months on end to prepare how they were going to practice. But yeah, I kind of like Coach Spurrier. I like the
He went and got all his college quarterbacks. He had Shane Matthews, Rex Grossman, he had all his Florida boys who could play in the NFL, all playing for Washington. Those
didn't go well.
Funny times. I'm glad he left Florida though, because that was awful trying to beat him. I would take a couple of years of Ron Zook any day of the week. A little Ron Zook reference for you here on a Friday in the middle of August. Lunch Hour brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans. Looking to buy, refinance. Angel Oak Home Loans is your friend. Ryan Schimpf of Angel Oak Home Loans will join us next on Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a
Wazan, inviting you to join me along with coaches Todd Black and Jimmy Roy as we kick off another season of Louisiana Prep Weekly. LHSA Executive Director Eddie Bonine joins us Sunday night at 6, live from Walk-Ons in Town Center on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch Hour brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans every Friday. That means we're talking with Ryan Shemp. He joins us via the phone line now. Mr. Shemp, how are you, sir?
Excellent. How about you guys?
Doing very well. You watching Little League World Series?
I'm just getting back into it. I catch it here and there. I do love it, though. I don't know why.
I
enjoy watching it.
It's the puberty Olympics. Whoever's got the kid that's 5'10", it can hit it 300 feet and throw it 70 miles an hour is going to win. That's just the way that it goes. They feel like they've expanded the coverage of this. We're now getting like regional broadcasts. They're not even in Williamsport yet. Every time I look up, they got a bunch of Little League games on.
Yeah, it's fun to see, man. Kids are having fun. You can see, you see the emotion in it, and I know everybody loves the when they do the little interviews with the kids, and they always throw out some funny one-liners. So I'm curious to see who's going to be the big hit this year.
I haven't done a lot of research, but I did see on Twitter, and that you can Photoshop stuff on Twitter, so maybe this was Photoshopped and wasn't real. But one kid, when asked who his favorite actress was, had an adult film star on the on there. I don't. It seems like it might have been photoshopped, but either way, it made for some quality internet content. I'll tell you what is cool is the Field of Dreams game. Obviously, I watched last night with the Cubs on. I saw you on social media. We're chatting about it. What do you think about it?
It's awesome, man. I saw kind of a little backstory on it the other day, and it's fun. I mean, I think it's awesome what MLB has done with making that a part of baseball, and brings me back to being a kid. But I think it's awesome. The guys coming out of the cornfield, it was really cool.
If you would have got an opportunity to play in that game, talk to me about, like, what do you think you would have felt like that? You had some players from the Cubs saying they felt like a kid playing in the middle of Iowa in a baseball game. What do you think those emotions would have been like for you?
Yeah, really weird, man. It would have been interesting. Yeah, I mean, definitely feel like a kid, feeling like, wonder when Kevin Costner's going to pop out sometime. I think that'd probably be the coolest thing. When am I going to meet Kevin Costner? So that was cool. I wish I could have experienced that.
Well, they were talking last night on the broadcast about how there's a bunch of stink made about how the fact that Ray Liotta, who played Shoeless Joe in Field of Dreams, hit right-handed in the movie, and Shoeless Joe hit left-handed. And apparently it came out that Ray Liotta spent a month trying to swing left-handed and could not create a passable left-handed swing, so they just said, "Forget it. We're getting away from it. Just hit right-handed." Do you think you could come up with a right-handed swing on command?
Oh, no doubt. But hey, I tell you what, Ray fooled me because I didn't even think about it until you just said that.
Yep.
So I was all into the movie.
That's the way it goes. Did you ever have to wear throwback uniforms at LSU or at in the big leagues, like
We
baggy
did, yeah.
ones?
LSU. We in 2008 we had the old school throwbacks.
With the L on
kind of
them?
like some. Yeah. They were great hats, but I'm a pants down guy, and if I didn't feel good, I rarely played good. So I hated wearing stuff if I had to wear my pants different. But it was cool though. It was fun to do.
That's see, that was my next question. Like, how did you feel? Because it changes the way that you feel out there. You take some pride in your appearance, and they jack it all up with the throwbacks. Did you at least think the throwbacks looked cool, regardless of how you were playing them?
They did. They look cool, but the coolest part, I'd love to go dig it up. I don't know where it is, but we took a picture as a team, kind of like an old school picture. We felt like we were in the 30s or whatever, and kind of had like a big wad in your mouth and just silly hat kind of sideways, and it was a fun picture.
Look, see, this is where people are going to get mad at me because people love those uniforms. I don't like them. I'm a huge uniform nerd, and I don't like the LSU ones with the big L and the baggy pants. Last night's I thought looked good because they didn't make them wear the super baggy pants, and I thought they looked pretty good, even though I didn't like that both teams were wearing basically white, which was annoying a little bit. But I can't get on board with the baggy uniforms. I know they used to do it. I just think it looks dumb.
Just tell them how you feel, man. I mean, I think it's cool. They did make them look good, but yeah, I'm all about the uni, man. I gotta look good, feel good, and then I'll play good.
Speaking of throwback unis, when I was on the Pats, Coach Belichick actually brought us back to the 20s and brought out the leather helmets and the cigarettes and everything. Did Coach Maneri do any fun team activities with you guys that changing things up a little bit?
I don't remember.
Halloween.
Wish I did. I think I don't know if we did. Halloween. I think we might have done something, but I know
they did all the time.
It got bigger and bigger. Once I left, they always had It was fun, man. Yeah, he would do some stuff every now and then to spice things up. I don't remember as far as the throwback game if we did anything different.
They now, well, obviously he's gone now, but when his last few years, I know for sure, because Halloween obviously comes during fall ball, they always had a practice in costumes, and he came out there one year in the Kramer Robertson jersey with the white hair like Kramer had in 17, and yeah, guys wearing all kinds of crazy stuff out there. Can you put into perspective what Aaron Judge is currently doing?
Oh, what great timing. I mean, he's been a great player for a long time, but I mean, good timing that he's coming up on a new deal, and it's fun to watch, and I'll be, I'm sure everybody's wondering what's going to happen this offseason for him. He's a moose, man. He can put up some numbers.
What is the home run record single season in your eyes? Is it 61 for Babe Ruth? Is it 62 for obviously Roger Maris? Is it McGuire 70, and then is it Bonds 73? I mean, what is actually the record?
I go with Bonds. I mean, okay. It's part of history. But I mean, obviously very, very debatable. But I think as time goes on, we've kind of had milestones for everything. That target was even, when McGuire and Bonds, I feel like from what I remember, it's like, all right, they passed 61. That's kind of a monument in itself. And then you get to 70 if you pass that. So, I'm a fan of the game. There's a lot of controversy with that. I love seeing great hitters, whether they've done something that's frowned upon or not. But yeah, I would love to see somebody get past 73. That would be incredible.
Juan Soto, he's set to head back to Washington. Do you expect some boo birds from the Nationals fans? Do you think they'll welcome him back with some praise?
Good question, man. I don't know. I would think, he didn't leave. They traded him, but you would like to think that he's been there for a while. It's been a big piece to him. So hopefully, he'll get some respect and, get some cheers and a little ovation because he's a heck of a player.
I think when you get a World Series, you kind of get a pass most of the time. Like certainly the guys that won it in 16 with the Cubs, like I give a pass for basically whatever they do the rest of their career. It does feel a little bit bad when your front office offers 15 years, $450 million, and you still say no. That might sour some people, I might think.
I'm sure everybody's going to have an opinion and gripe and complain and be like, how can you pass it up? But yeah, they got him a ring, and it's just there's a business side of it that some people will just never know or maybe not understand. And that's you got to respect the player and his decision, and if they have the confidence to pass something like that up, more power to them, and you got to respect it.
Ryan Schimpf, Angel Oak Home Loans, joins us each and every Friday. I do trivia every Tuesday night at Pluckers, and one of the trivia questions asked this week was he led the American League in wins in 2011, and he actually leads the American League in wins today. Justin Verlander is the answer. Everybody's talking about Tom Brady on one end playing forever. Justin Verlander's still throwing 97 miles an hour, knocking on 40's door. What do you make of him? And I'm sure you faced him at some point.
Yeah, I faced him maybe one time in spring training. Could never really match up with him, but it's incredible. One of the best to ever do it, still doing it at a high level. He might play it forever, unbelievable competitor. So it's, they got some guys, man, in the game, in the history of the game, and today that are just freaks. And it's fun. It's fun to watch, and you try to appreciate as much as you can while they're still doing it.
What do you think about interviewing players in game? They do it in spring training. They did it in the Field of Dreams game with Joey Votto and Ian Happ and some of those guys. I don't necessarily need it, but they're not marketing to me. What do you think about guys talking to the TV crew while they're playing in a game?
Yeah, I think it's cool, man. I wonder what the coaches think about it if they ever have a ball coming to them and they boot it and miss it. That would be my thing. Is how do I explain that? But yeah, I think it's cool, man. You got to keep up with the times and keep fans engaged and excited. So I think it's interesting to kind of hear some guys break it down, especially while they're mid-pitch, mid-run sometimes. So it's interesting, and whatever can keep the game exciting and kind of open up some personalities to some guys that you may not have a clue about. So I don't have a problem with it.
As a Yankees fan, I think there's no other person you can put as AL MVP, but it's pretty much safe to say Aaron Judge has that wrapped up right now.
Probably so, man. How many homers does he have now? I don't
He's in the mid-40s. He's in the mid-40s. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty special, man. I think for me, the most important thing, I don't get wrapped up in MVP and Cy Young and all that stuff. I'm super glued to the postseason. That's my favorite time to see who's going to come out, and it's just fun baseball, man. And whoever it is, I hope it goes down to Game 7, the last inning, last pitch.
Tell them about Angel Oak, Ryan.
Yeah, so if you're looking to buy, refinance, whether it's a traditional loan or if you're self-employed, have trouble getting a loan being self-employed, or if you're an investor looking for a good option, love for you to give us a shot. You can go to ryanschimpf.com or search me on Instagram, Facebook. Love to help you out.
We appreciate it. Have a good weekend, man.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Ryan Schimpf, Angel Oak Home Loans. Want to remind you, professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com. I know a lot of people are a little bit disenchanted with the present and future of college football. If you're one of those people, I might make you smile with this next segment here. We'll close out hour number 1 next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
One thing you're not disenchanted about is tailgating, and that's about what season it is here. Revelry is here to help you with all your tailgating needs, whether it's a season-long package you want to buy or just one game because you want to have a commercial outing or the friends are in town and you want to put together a tailgate. Revelry's team has got you figured out.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you guys about Revelry's full-service turnkey tailgating. Capacity, a 10x20 high. And they even hook you up with a post-tailgate cleanup.
You just show up and enjoy the tailgate. Revelry takes care of all the setup, all the maintenance, and all the cleanup when you go inside to watch the Tigers. It is truly turnkey luxury tailgating with Revelry. They're the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics. They're set up right outside Patrick F. Taylor Hall, right 3 blocks from Tiger Stadium. It is a great spot. It is a great community. Kind of turns into a village with all the people that are there with Revelry during a tailgate. So if you're looking to get a tailgate set up and don't know where to start, Revelry is your spot. Check it all out at revelryteam.com.
This week on dropbiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out neworleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz van.
Wazan, inviting you to join me along with coaches Todd Black and Jimmy Roy as we kick off another season of Louisiana Prep Weekly. LHSA Executive Director Eddie Bonine joins us Sunday night at 6, live from Walk-Ons in Town Center on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bilbo Baggins in the Bayou Ford chat says, thoughts on the Texas A&M quarterback jump pass drill they practiced that got to the internet. Look, after what he pulled in 2018, I'm not going to respect anything Damian Craig does for the rest of his career. That's just the way it's going to be. So, no, I didn't like that. Speaking of college football, I teased in the last segment, if you're a little disenchanted with the direction of college football or some things drive you nuts about the way they are, then that's okay. But if you're in that number, this is probably going to be a video that puts a smile on your face. We're not going to make a habit out of playing 3-minute videos with sound on this show, but today I figured we could do it here on a Friday. This video comes from South Carolina's football department. Shane Beamer is the voice you're going to hear the entire time, the head coach at South Carolina. And he starts in a player meeting, and he says they're going to go on a walk. They go on a walk and sit in the upper deck of Williams-Brice Stadium. So that's the setting for this video. It starts in a team meeting in the meeting room, and it finishes pretty early in the upper deck of Williams-Brice Stadium. So we'll go ahead and play that video now.
All right, good morning. First of all, Brad Johnson, happy birthday, Brad. In all seriousness, all right, we're taking a walk. All right, we're taking a 10-minute walk. We're going to be outside. All right, so if you guys, you can wear what you're wearing. I don't care. We'll meet right down there in the lobby like we did for the spring game. See you downstairs at 9:07. Let's go. All right, everybody hear me okay? That wasn't easy to get up here, correct? In all seriousness, I want you to understand what we do, and then also who we do it for. And y'all saw a lot of stuff happening on this walkover. You saw people out there trimming those trees to make it look great for game day. You see all the construction. You can see the new LED lights and ribbon boards. But imagine you make that walk here, and now you got to climb all those steps to the very top of the upper deck, where your head is up against the back of the stadium on the last row. People pay money to come watch you guys play and do that. I don't want us to lose sight of the sacrifices that people make to come watch you guys play down there. People pay money to park, to then walk all the way down Bluff Road, to then climb up this ramp and these steps like we just did to watch you play. People park all the way over there on the top of Rosewood Drive, pay to walk all the way down Rosewood, all the way around the State Fair, to then make this climb all the way to the top to watch you guys play, and the sacrifices that they make as well. They're going to come out here. You know how our fans are. They're the best in the country. They'll be out here when we play Georgia State. It's at night. And then they're also going to do that same walk and that same climb when we play Georgia, the second home game, at 12 noon, when it's around 100 degrees out here. And they're going to sit out here in the sun. We're up here. You're damn near touching the sun for 3.5 hours for you. I want to make sure we don't lose sight of what we're doing and who we're doing it for. And everybody has their why. And whether it's the fan base or whether it's your family, friends, there's a lot of people that make sacrifices to come watch us play. Don't ever, ever, ever take that for granted as well. All right, we got a lot of good going on in this team. Let's keep it going.
Again, we're not going to play 3-minute videos for other teams very often, but in the era of like transfer portal this and NILs that and recruiting violations this and all that kind of stuff, like there is a little bit of, I love this team, I love the fan base, we're one, we're going to go out there and have a great season, and it's a special time here on Saturdays, and that kind of gets lost sometimes in just people being unhappy with watching the product. I thought that was a cool little video, and I hope that resonates. Shane Beamer comes across as a really likable dude.
Yeah, I know. I fell in love with Shane whenever I saw the Georgia video last year, and just being totally upfront and honest about everything that was happening during the season. And so I think right now, and especially in this climate in college football with NIL and everything that's going on, transfer portal, it's easy to be in your bubble and not realize everything that's going on outside of your little bubble. And that's fans. They pay a lot of money to go watch you play, and they do a lot of different things in order to go see you play on Saturdays. And so giving it everything you have, and a lot of times it took me a long time to really realize how true this was. But a lot of people, that's their first time seeing you in person. That's their first time going to a game. And when you get that opportunity, you want to make sure you're doing it the right way and putting on a show for those people. So, yeah, I definitely agree with Coach Beamer there.
There's nothing wrong with doing something for yourself. If you never do anything for yourself, then what are you gonna? How are you gonna get any enjoyment out of anything, or how are you gonna reach the place that you want to be? But I think there's a lot with NIL and certainly the transfer portal it's me. And there is still some we. There's plenty of we. There's still a lot of people who want to go out there and be a part of the place that they chose and be a part of a team and go out there and win and be one with the fan base. There is still some of that, and we lose sight of it when all we talk about all the time is transfer portal this and NIL that, and who's this recruiting stuff and who's got hats on the table and what all that kind of stuff. But there's still some of that, and some of that may have gone in one ear and out the other with some people, and some of it may have really hit home. I like that part of it, and it hit home for me. And I'm hopeful that some of that hits home for some of the guys in purple and gold this year, and they go out there and have a good time.
No, most definitely. And I talk about it all the time. People say, man, you don't get tired of going to Tiger Stadium. You don't get tired of game day. Look, man, you never get tired of that. You only get so many opportunities to do that. These players, they're only going to play in so many games. And so you got to cherish and take advantage of every opportunity you have to do that. So, yeah, I got to agree with you there.
Plenty to talk about in the second hour. A lot of NFL chatter that we will do in the second hour. Get you ready one more time for Saints and Texans on Saturday. Other NFL storylines. Tom Brady stepping away. What's all that about? And plus, we had some preseason stuff last night that we will react to as well. Stick with us. We're moving through a working Friday. It's Hunt and Hill.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has $14,000 off MSRP on a new 2021 Ford F-150. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
1 hour left in our working week here. Hunt and Hill, hope your Friday is going well. We don't have too many more Fridays until we got a football Friday. Just a couple more for LSU and Florida State on a Sunday. Just found out I got lunch plans that Sunday. The boys are going to go out and have some lunch for the game in the CBD before we do the pregame show over there in New Orleans and then head on into the Superdome for LSU and Florida State. Very, very, very much looking forward to all of that. A lot of NFL talk here in the second hour. We're also going to have a little fun in the next segment. I'm very much looking forward to that. We'll just leave it at that. We'll start the second hour with the lead toss.
The lead toss.
Hill trying to go to the outside, turns it upfield, and he breaks it into the clear. He's down to the 10. He's still going. Touchdown, Jeremy Hill.
The lead toss to Jeremy Hill.
Hill to the 20. Hill to the 10. The MVP is in the end zone for LSU. Touchdown, Tigers.
Here's the lead toss to Jeremy Hill.
Well, football season's here, and for a lot of fan bases, it's sunshine and rainbow seasons. A lot of fans feel like their team is right there in the thick of it, and they're going to make a deep playoff run and go win them a Super Bowl. But today, I'm going to have to, end those trains for a lot of these fan bases. And today we're going to go through the pretenders and the contenders in the NFL. And right now, I'm going to let you know which teams exactly I feel like are, poised to make a deep playoff run and which teams I think are just, quite frankly, not in it. And so we'll start with the NFC. And we'll go with the teams that I don't think are going to be making a playoff run. And let's stick in the NFC South. And that's the Panthers and the Falcons. I think both of these teams are extremely similar in the fact that neither one of them really have any proven quarterback to make a playoff run. And I think for the Panthers, they're probably in a worse situation now that they have two quarterbacks who I think are just –
the Baker boy.
Yeah, the quarterbacks that are just in that, 15 to 25 range, and that's a bad range to be in. And so, yeah, I think the Falcons and the Panthers, good news for Saints fans, I don't think they're going to be in it.
No, they will not be. This team stink. I can't believe you're disrespecting Marcus Mariota like that. The Baker boy, Sam Darnold, just a who's who. No, just bad. The rosters are bad. The quarterback situation's bad. Coaching's probably bad. It's not good for either one of those two teams, which is great if you're a New Orleans Saints fan because two of the teams in your division are a disaster.
Well, let's go to the NFC North now, and not great for Chicago fans, and that's the Bears aren't going to be in it either. And I'm going to throw the woeful Lions in there too, even though they got the great praise of being on Hard Knocks. Probably hang a banner for that if you're Detroit. But yeah, the Lions and the Bears, I don't think they're going to be very good at all. Those are two things I threw in the pretender can pretty quick.
Hard Knocks is going to be pretty entertaining this year. I watched the first episode. Dan Campbell is such a meathead. It is good content. Spent a lot of time around Aiden Hutchinson. They haven't really talked to Jared Goff at all. Kelvin Shepard gets a lot of run. Hey. Michael Brockers has gotten a little bit as well. I think Vegas will probably have some over tickets placed on the Browns because you feel a connection to them as you're watching Hard Knocks, but you really have to pull yourself out of it and realize this is a disaster and these guys are not going to be good at all. And it's hard to see because there's so much optimism and positivity when you watch it. It's early in camp. They're fired up. They got the number 1 draft pick who's out there doing, and then you realize they're still the Lions. They've won 1 playoff game in their history, and they're going to be terrible. And by the time November rolls around, they'll be so far out of it, they'll be thinking about the draft again.
Wait, so you're telling me guys crying during motivational speeches isn't going to result in like 10
you were
wins?
3-14, and I think you'd be pretty close to that again this year.
Yeah, I agree with you there too. And yeah, let's go to my boy Taylor Sharp's conference here. NFC East.
Wait, we got to talk about the Bears first.
Go ahead.
I find my listening to ESPN Chicago so fascinating when they talk about the Bears. There's just absolutely no hope. They've got a young quarterback, and everyone's already just convinced themselves that this is another Trubisky. It's just another failure in terms of draft and development, and that it's not going to get any better. It's tough. I mean, I feel like that used to be the case around here with the Saints. Everyone just knew that they were not going to be very good, and then Peyton and Breeze flipped the narrative, and they've been running smoothly ever since. In Chicago, they're still like you felt 15 years ago. They just have no confidence that and now their best player has said, I want out. And it's just that even drives the stake even further into him. Such a proud fan base, a proud city with a football team that can't get out of its own way.
No, it's bad, and I think it's been like that since I can remember the Bears.
Yep.
And I know we were talking
Bears.
giving Rex Grossman some love. I mean, that's the last quarterback to get you to a Super Bowl. So just let you know the fortune the Bears have had in the quarterback department has not been well. And I think NFC East, I was going to throw the Cowboys in there, but for my boy Taylor, I'm not going to throw him in the pretender can. It's just the woeful Danny Dimes and our boy Carson Wentz. Walk it to him, Wentz. I don't like either one of those teams. I just don't think they're going to make a run. And for the Giants, to be one of those New York franchises and not have a pulse, it's just not a good scene, man. Not good when the Giants are good. I think it's going to be another one of those years for them.
Jeremy, the Cowboys are not pretenders until it becomes November.
Okay, so
elite in September and October. Commanders, their defense wasn't as good last year as it looks on paper. You got all first-round picks on the defensive front, and you figured they'd be just a ferocious pass rush and impenetrable against the run. They weren't that good on defense last year, and you've got issues at quarterback. Yeah, not great. Heineke.
Yep. And, we talk about college coaches going to the NFL and having some success. Our boy Pete Carroll has probably done the best job that I can think of. But unfortunately for Pete, I don't think the Seahawks are going to be very good. The immortal Drew Lock taking over, the scenes for Russell Wilson.
Could be Garoppolo.
Look, it could be. But even then with that, I think that roster is ways away from the rosters Jimmy G has had a ton of success with. I know my boy Jamal's up there, but I just don't see it for the Seahawks this year.
Pete got chippy with the media last year and said, sorry, like I'm just not – and then on Monday or Tuesday whenever he met with him again, sorry, I'm just not used to losing like this. I'm surprised. I realize there's a huge contract attached to it, and that's a big incentive to go to work. But at his age, when your ownership and general manager has decided we're going to blow this entire thing up and start trading Hall of Famers, I'm surprised he stuck around for it. I wouldn't. Like I've got enough cash. I'm going to play golf and enjoy the ocean. Like I'm not sitting around through 4-13, 3-14. Like that's not where I would be doing it. But then again, that's probably why I'm here and he's there. That's the way that goes.
I was wondering that same thing last year when we kind of talked about this, and then I realized that Pete Carroll was the second highest paid coach in the entire NFL, and he's getting over $16 million to coach football. I think Pete may hang around for a little bit longer just to check that out because, it's hard to pass up on a payday like that. So, I think for the NFC, those are my pretenders. Work our way over to the AFC, and to me, these are two of the absolute worst franchises in all of football. I just don't see any way, especially this season, that either one of those teams have any sort of pulse. And that's our favorite team, the Jags and the Texans. I just think, that's just bad football teams, bad rosters. I don't love what I see from the top coming down, and I think that continues on for the season as well.
I'm very pro Colts this year, and that's one of the reasons is you got 4 games with those two franchises that stink. And, maybe there's a shot of life in Jacksonville and Trevor kind of makes some strides and they are a reasonable football team. I would bet against that. That's why I'm betting on the Colts. I still think Matt Ryan has something in the tank because that division's half baked. I mean, it's half terrible. So that's what you're talking about. Jags and Texans not trying. Well, the Jags I think are trying. The Texans are not trying. But I just they're terrible.
Yeah, and I think for me, this team, I don't think since I've been alive and remembering, they have been good making the playoffs year in and year out. So it's weird that I'm throwing them in a pretender can, but I'm going to have to put the Steelers in there.
Mitch!
Money-making Mitch. I'm sorry, my boy Kenny Pickett. And I'm going to throw the Browns in there. I know, that was my Super Bowl pick. Boy, was I wrong about that last year. But I think with all the quarterback, distractions and stuff, I just don't see how they can make a deep playoff run. So for the AFC North, I'm going to throw the Steelers and the Browns in there.
Look, they were talking this morning on ESPN about how good this Browns roster is, but they don't have any certainty of what their quarterback situation is going to be. We expect to see Deshaun Watson play tonight. That's the expectation right now. And if he were to play 17 games, I think a lot of people would pick the Browns to be a strong team. But then the air of uncertainty swirls, and you can't. So I don't disagree with you there in putting them in a pretender spot.
Yep, and another one of these teams that I never thought I would have to put in the pretender can. But, yeah, I'm going to have to put the Patriots and Bill Belichick in there. And I'm going to go ahead and throw my boy Tua in there as well. And I think, as much dog as Zach Wilson has, he just has so much dog in him. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll be making the playoffs this year.
Twitter's having some fun with that. They're putting X-rays with actual dogs in them and stuff. Look, I'm so on board with this Patriots take. It's probably a little bit. There's a bandwagon developing, and I'm certainly jumping on it. I think they're toast. I think this whole thing is over. I think Belichick's time making significant pushes is over. I don't trust Mac Jones. I don't trust not having an offensive coordinator. I don't trust them. I think it's over. I think that as long they're not going to be relevant for the next few years, in my opinion.
And I think if Josh Allen wasn't in that division, I'd be like, you know what, Bill may be able to. No, Josh Allen, they're going to walk through that division. I don't think that anyone's going to challenge them in that division. And it's kind of the exact opposite of what Tom Brady used to have. He used to be able to go against, the Jets quarterback, the Dolphins, who've just not been. You get to play a terrible division every year, and it helps out a ton, like you said, with the Colts. And so I think the Bills are in that situation right now with a terrible division. They're going to run the table.
That just gave me a thought. And now bear with me here as I bring this locally. The Bills had to suffer under this tyrannical rule of the Patriots. Brady, Belichick, beating them over the head, winning championships every single year. And that kind of feels like where we're sitting with Alabama. Man, if we can find an era here in the very near future where it all falls apart in Tuscaloosa and they hire Mike Schuler, they hire Dennis Francione, or they hire Mike DeBose, and it falls apart, which is going to happen at some point. It happened. They're not infallible. They're a Saban creation here. When that happens, if we can kind of get our Josh Allen and get our White Knight to ride in with whoever that coach is and just put our thumb on him for like 8 years, would that be something?
Oh, look.
I just dare to dream.
Look, you got to dream, but that's very, very real, man. We've seen some of these eras. I mean, you look at college football, you look at Miami, you look at Nebraska. It can go the other way, and so for Alabama, it can go the other way. And I think it starts with the head guy, as you can see with the Patriots. It can go the way. As great as the coach Bill Belichick is, it doesn't matter if you don't have a quarterback and a guy who can, really, convert time and time again. They don't have that anymore. So I think winning is going to be a lot more harder for them. So, yeah, I think those are all the pretenders.
Yeah,
Sorry to ruin everyone's dreams.
I don't disagree with yours. Now, as far as teams that you have not put in the pretenders that I'm not necessarily buying, I know they got a good roster. I'm going to reserve judgment on their quarterback play. I don't love the Niners this year. I realize they just got as far as they did with Jimmy G. Mm-hmm. So the roster's great. I got it. I just let me see Lance at some point. So I would pull them down a peg. I don't love the Titans. I'm a little iffy on that one as well. And I don't know that the Broncos have a great roster. I mean, they've upgraded a quarterback.
Yeah.
We kind of lost sight of Russell Wilson over the last year and a half. Like, is he still the All-Pro, or is he lost a step? We'll see. I don't know that I love the Broncos either.
Yeah, I think that, to me, if you wanted to make that case, I could totally get behind that, especially with the conference that they're going to be playing in, and their division is extremely tough. But I just like Russ. Looking at the quarterbacks in the NFC, I think he's right there in that pack. So any given Sunday, I think with him at the helm, he can win that game. And, I think for the Niners, the quarterback is the biggest concern. But I just think, even with what I've seen so far, I just think Lance with Shanahan just gives me a higher ceiling in that offense. He kind of had his hands tied with Jimmy G. He wants to get those quarterbacks on the edge, wants to work that big play action stuff, and I just think that's not Jimmy's strong suit. So I know another team you're probably not going to be agreeing with, and that's the Eagles. I know you're probably not too high
on them. I'm out on Hurts, but look, I can absolutely see a scenario where they get to the second weekend of the playoffs. I don't know. Are we talking Super Bowl? Are we talking just make it to some real relevant football at the end? I can see that in what I think is a bad NFC. I just don't love the NFC, and so I can't totally write them off.
yeah. That's to me. I'm just looking at their roster.
Yeah.
Love the Jordan Davis picks. Looks like he's already just
Throwing guys around,
just pushing guys in the quarterback lap. So they got a talent on that roster. I love the AJ Brown addition with Devontae Smith. So if Hurts can just kind of do what he's always done, let's just not turn the ball over, use his legs, run the crap out of the ball, I think they'll be right there. So yeah, and I had to throw the Saints and the Bengals, make sure they were in my contenders because whoever that bonehead is who created the FBI, I'm gonna have to have a conversation because we gotta have Joey B. There's no contenders list without Joey B in there, and I gotta throw the Saints in there too.
That is Jeremy's lead toss. I have had a take that I have put out on the air numerous times over the last 3 or 4 years, and somebody nationally wrote a story and agreed with me. So we'll have some fun with that next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford, BayouFord.com. F-150, F-250, Explorer, Expedition, even the Bronco. They got you covered at Bayou Ford.
Yeah, and go to BayouFord.com. They have the all-new 2022 Ford Expedition Timberline. It has a Ready Lift 3 kit on there, and it has ceramic window tint. Also, all new 2021 Ford F-150s. They're getting $14,000 off MSRP, including the Black Widow edition.
Check out the website, BayouFord.com. The entire inventory is right there, and right in bold letters when you go to the website, it says don't settle. Don't settle. You don't have to just settle because you find something on the lot at the first Carter's dealership you go to. No, let Bayou Ford customize a vehicle for you. It only takes 2 to 3 months to get that car back. They will drive it right to your driveway, put a big bow on it if they want, and you can have exactly the car that you want to have, and Bayou Ford can make that happen for you. If you just go to the website or give them a call or stop by the store today. Bayou Ford, check out the inventory at BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org.
For a Friday edition of Early Line, as we give you some weekend picks as part of our daily spread presented by Suspense Games, and we preview the Saints preseason opener against the Texans. Join us 2 to 3 p.m. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So, if you listen to this show routinely, you've probably heard me with my take on A&M athletics. I have routinely called them the most underachieving program in the history of collegiate athletics in terms of resources, recruiting base, and then results on the field, on the floor, on the court, whatever you want to call it. They're a disaster, and I stand by that. And today, I was scrolling through the interwebs and stumbled upon an Adam Rittenberg story on ESPN that said the top, let's see what the actual...
Underachiever.
I want to see what the actual title is. Who does the least with the most? Our annual college football underachiever tiers is the title. And the lead of the story, I went to journalism school. You got to come out with a strong lead to captivate your reader. The lead of this piece on the most underachieving teams in the sport is, and I quote, Texas A&M fans, I'm ready for you. That's what I'm talking about, Adam Rittenberg. Said, I recognize it's never fun for fans to see their team headlining college football's underachiever tiers. Texas A&M has one of the largest and most prideful fan bases in the sport, so much so that it is synonymous with the number 12. Although the home of the 12th man was an easy pick to lead off the tiers, the truth about this team's lack of big performances can sting. That is a thing of beauty. To maintain consistency from the first edition, I've identified 6 tiers of underachievers. Let's get started. Number 1, Tier 1, angst in Aggie land. Look, they were number 6 in the country preseason last year, ended up 8-4. Other than the upset of Alabama, Aggies coach Jimbo Fisher became the first ex-Saban assistant to beat Saban. A&M had a largely forgettable season. That's the thing about A&M about last year, is if you listen to the A&M side, they would say that beating Alabama was such a big step in the right direction. Man, they had a bad season last year. And if you want to boil it down to 3.5 hours, you can have that. It was probably fun. You hit the field goal to walk off, charge the field. That's all well and good. But you lost to the Mississippi schools. LSU put the JV team out there and you couldn't beat them. Like, that season stunk last year.
Look, I've been saying that from the top of the mountains ever since last preseason, before they even played it down. It's just, I did not see it with Texas. I know they had an amazing year, 9-1. Woohoo! Let's hang the banner. We didn't make the college football playoff. We didn't win the national title. We were ranked preseason, and we just fall short again. So I think last year was the same case. I think this year is going to be the same case. I think them being ranked 7, I think it's great, because now it creates a world where you don't finish in the top 10. You digress in the season. That means you're probably going to lose to Alabama. You're going to lose somewhere along the line, and come on, throw up the U, baby. I need everyone in Tiger Nation throwing up the U.
Look,
we need to ride with the U.
Since 1994, they've lost 4 or more games 23 times. In conference play, they've had at least 3 losses in conference in 20 of the past 23 seasons. They have not won a league or division title in the SEC, and they only won 1 in the Big 12 in the last 23 seasons. That was in 1998. 0 national championships since 1939. Since then, here are some of the teams that have: Maryland, Syracuse, Michigan State, Pitt, BYU, Colorado. Since 1939, those teams have won titles. A&M is not.
Look, man, I'm trying to tell you guys, man. Look, it's just not what they think. I'm sure, like my boy Rittenberg said, sorry, Texas, sorry, A&M Nation. you guys have just been constantly underachieving. I know you guys are putting millions of dollars into your facilities. You're putting millions of dollars into NIL. I mean, you're just throwing the money out there.
Hundreds of millions into their stadium.
Unfortunately, it just hasn't, boded into any wins on Saturdays, especially significant wins when it actually matters. And so for A&M, I think it continues. I want to see it again this year. I don't love their quarterback room, which I think you got to have, especially now in this day and age in the SEC. Yeah, underachieving again. I love it.
So that is our look at the Texas A&M Aggies as the most underachieving team in the sport. But there were some others that I wanted to get to that had some fairly eyebrow-raising statistics. Since 1998, which is 24 years ago, UCLA has finished in the top 25 3 times. 3 out of 24. It's not that hard to finish in the top 25.
Yeah.
9 and 3, 8 and 4 gets you right in the top 25.
Yeah.
And they can't pull that off. That is, in that area of the country, you play in the Rose Bowl, you never finish in the top 25. That is wildly underachieving.
No, it is. And I think for me, that's why that loss, I mean, it even still stings to this day. It's just, in football. Man, how did that happen? But hey, that's just what they've been, especially in my lifetime, just hasn't really been competitive, haven't really had that pulse. I could probably name maybe 2 great UCLA football players off the top of my head. It's just they haven't done it on any level on the football field. So I know Chip Kelly's there. I know he was, brought there to change their fortunes and change things around. Even with that big time win over LSU last year, still not the case. I think they continue that.
Texas is next on this list. And when I think of Texas, I think of a national power. I mean, that's my view of looking at Texas football. And then you look at it and you go, man, they haven't won a lot of big stuff. They've played for the conference championship 1 time since 2009. 1 time in that league with Baylor and Texas Tech and Kansas and Iowa State, TCU?
Yeah, that's bad. And I think, as much as everyone wants to say Texas is back, that's not the case. It just hasn't been what they have. And I know getting Arch is a big-time deal for them, and everyone's buzzing with NIL over there. But, what we've seen, even with look no further than A&M, pumping that money around, it doesn't quite equate to winning games on Saturday. It takes a program that's run right from the top down. Obviously, you got to recruit well. And then you got to go out there and call the plays, and the players have to play well. And Texas just hasn't had that for I don't know what reason. It seems like they have everything at their disposal. You got the resources, you got the money, you got everything you would need to be, one of the better programs in the country. They just have not been that way, and I think it's not a good time for college football. I want to see Texas have a pulse. It's just they just can't do it to save their lives.
In 52 years, since 1970, 52 years, Texas has 1 national title. It puts into perspective for me just how spoiled we are. And I think people in my dad's generation don't take this for granted because my dad's been watching LSU football since the 60s. And to watch his emotion in 2003 where he thought that would never happen. And for me, I'm 34 years old, like we're expected to be in there and win national championships because we've played for 4 of them and won 3 of them in the last 20 years. And that's not normal. I mean, and sometimes I think we take it for granted. I mean, we don't take it for granted in the way that Alabama fans do, who can sleep all the way through December, literally just fall asleep through December and then wake up in the championship game. I think that probably takes a little bit of enjoyment out of it, quite honestly. Yeah. But it's not that easy. You think about what the monkey Georgia just got off their back. You think about Texas has only done it once in 50 years. It's not that easy, and you're not guaranteed to get another one here in the next 3 years. Like it feels that way sometimes. It's just not the way it works.
Yeah, I mean, look at even in this article, Rittenberg wrote that. He was like, I had Georgia on the same list a year before. So it's crazy just how quick your fortunes can change. But, yeah, look no further than that. I think I was talking about it early in the season last year. Yeah, Kirby's done amazing things. It's almost identical to what Jimbo has going at A&M. Like, yeah, you're recruiting well. You got the money. You got, a pulse again. You're winning games. But you got to go win the big one, and that's, to me, what puts you over the top. And I just don't think A&M's there. I don't think Texas is there. I think a lot of these teams, I just don't see them getting over that hump and winning the big one, which is, like you said, I have to agree with you. Winning games year in and year out, winning championships, you never can take that for granted because only one team can do it each year.
Imagine if you slipped into a coma in 2002, and I woke you up and said, hey, by the way, you're awake. Congratulations. Glad you came out of that. Nebraska and Miami are just total non-factors and have been for more than a decade. Absolute non-factors. And that, to me, and I know we have a lot of listeners significantly older than both of us, is fascinating because there was a time where you didn't think Miami would ever lose again. There was a time where you didn't think Nebraska would ever lose again. And it can go away. And it has for them for 20 years. And I'm curious, when I look back and I'm 55 and 20 years from now, like, who's climbed this pantheon and who's slipped into the abyss? And I think the conference realignment will do some of that for you. But, like, I don't know if they're going to get it back anytime soon. Certainly, I would not bet on Nebraska getting anything back. In Miami, we'll see what Cristobal can do. They're really excited about what he's doing. But when you look at it in that kind of perspective, and I can't – in 2001, I was 13. Like, how much perspective can you have of thinking, man, these Miami dudes are cool and they win a lot? Now you look back 20 years from now, and Miami's just a total afterthought.
Yeah, and I talk about that with LSU, that we're playing with fire right now, and that's a standard. And I listened to Antrell Roll. He was on the pivot, and he's a former safety there. And he was like, when he was a freshman and Ed Reed was, on his way to the NFL, those guys would get pissed if the freshmen got in the game and let those guys score. And he's like, we didn't. I mean, even the freshmen were a bunch of NFL guys, but to see that they were how they were back then to where they are now, and it's just – not really being that national powerhouse, not being, a threat year in and year out, and, not, dominating the state of Florida in recruiting. There was a time where if you're a state, a 5-star in the state of Florida.
State of Miami is what they called it. What Snellenberger called it.
You were going to Miami, and now that's just so far from the case. And so, yeah, for Miami, it's just so crazy to see them be so dominant year in and year out, to just really not have any sort of a pulse. And I think Nebraska's in the same pulse, and seeing what they're doing over there. I know Cousin Trey's over there. He's looking to do some big things, but I just don't think those big things are coming for Nebraska next season.
No, I don't think they are either. But the point of the segment we should not lose sight of is to make fun of Texas A&M, which I think we did an adequate job of there at the top of the segment. The Aggies, the most underachieving football program in the history of the sport, and certainly last year's 8-4. Not going to do them any favors. All right, when we come back, college football's top 50 newcomers, a couple of LSU Tigers on that list, plus some NFL storylines from the preseason that opened up basically last night. I'll talk about that next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
And inviting you to join me along with coaches Todd Black and Jimmy Roy as we kick off another season of Louisiana Prep Weekly. LHSA Executive Director Eddie Bonine joins us Sunday night at 6 live from Walk-Ons in Town Center on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
About a half an hour to go here on a Friday edition of Hunt and Hill. ESPN.com.
I think from the second spring football started, we kind of knew that's where things were headed. I don't know if that's the greatest time for where this team was, but I think for the talent that Will is, I think he can be a talent. We know, especially freshman linemen, they're going to go through their growing pains. But if there's anyone I trusted to get through those and come out on the other side, good to go, that's Will. He fits all the billings you want from a young tackle, and he's big, strong, and aggressive. And I think with all those things, he can come in right away and, be a talent for the Tigers.
He did a good job against Ali Gay in one-on-ones yesterday. We got a good look at him there, and that's a man who's 22 years old and ready to come off the edge and has proven that he's tough to block in the SEC when healthy, and he's certainly healthy right now, and Will Campbell held his own. I'm with you. Auburn's got a first-rounder on the edge. We know about Will Anderson. They're going to be dudes. A&M's got 5 stars on the defensive line. He's got to hold his own way more often than he doesn't, and I think that there's a lot of confidence with his LSU coaching staff that he's the guy for the job. I mean, there's not a single spot that's set on that offensive line other than his, and that's not me saying that because I'm watching practice. That's Brian Kelly saying that in press conferences. So he's going to be leaned on heavily, and he's made a huge impression. He's got that frame and that build that we talk about that Brian Kelly recruits to on the offensive line. They want long and lean. They want to fill you out as opposed to trim you down. Will Campbell fits that mold, so he's going to be that dude. This is counting transfers and freshmen in the top 50 newcomers in college football. And number 20 on the list, a name that I wasn't expecting to see quite that early, is Mekhi Wingo, the Missouri transfer here into LSU. The snippet says Wingo, one of the more sought-after defensive line transfers, adds 2 options up front for Kelly and his staff. You got Jaquelin Roy, got Mason Smith coming back. Wingo can add to that group and provide excellent rotation along the defensive line. I like the depth on the defensive front.
Yeah, I think that's the strong suit of the defense. I think as many bodies as you have, in that room, and guys who are talented. I mean, Wingo's a guy who made all freshman SEC, which I think can't go overlooked, especially at a program like Missouri. And so I think he can come in right away, be a guy that can be in this rotation and really make some impact and help them play. Because to me, when you got that many defensive linemen, you can mix and match it. You can have 4 down, you can have 3 down, and you can have fresh bodies in there the whole game, and fresh bodies with guys who can play. And I think, Wingo's got to be one of those guys.
The next 2 guys on the list, not from LSU, but we'll probably get familiar with them pretty quickly. Number 24 on this list is Jared Verse, a defensive end who transferred from Albany to Florida State. Said that Florida State lost star Jermaine Johnson to the NFL. He was a first-round pick. They also lost Kyer Thomas, who ranked second on the team with 6.5 sacks last year. Verse at Albany last year had 9 sacks, 11.5 tackles for loss in 11 games. He's going to bring some help to the pass rush as younger edge players on the roster get acclimated. I don't know if a guy from Albany puts the fear of God in me, but he seems to be a guy that they're pretty high on, and I'm glad they lost their top 2 sack guys from last year. And we're trying to break in an entire new offensive line.
Look, yeah, like you said, when you got the offensive line issues we've had over the past couple seasons, the last thing you want to see is another Will Anderson. But I think the Albany guy is not going to strike.
The Albany guy, that's what we're going to call him.
Yeah, the Albany guys are going to strike the fear God of me. So I think we should be able to handle that. If not, we're in a world of trouble.
I would tend to agree with a lot of that. That's going to do it for the LSU guys on this list. I want to make sure. Yep, that does it for the LSU guys on this list. I wanted your thoughts, being that you played with Tom Brady, as we shift gears up to the NFL. Tom's stepping away from Buccaneers camp for some time. Todd Bowles was in a press conference yesterday, said, this is something we've talked about before training camp. I've allotted him this time. He wants to get in, get some chemistry with the guys, go through 2 weeks of training camp, knowing he wasn't going to play the first 2 preseason games. He didn't want to take reps away from Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask, Ryan Griffin. He's going to handle those guys the next 2 games, knowing it's something that he needs to do. Your thoughts on Brady stepping away for a week? It matter at all?
I don't think so. If there's anyone in the entire NFL that I trust to be away from football, especially in the smack dab middle of fall camp, I think it's Tom. And I think, Devin White said it the other day. Something strikes me that Tom isn't waking up, sitting on the couch, eating Cheetos and fries all day. Whatever he's doing,
that's the dream, baby.
Yeah. He's getting his work in one way or another. So, I think for anyone to trust a quarterback, it would be to trust Tom. I think he'll be fine. He'll get back in there ready to go. Let some of those backup guys get some reps. I know you're kind of having some concerns about the 45-year-old. Maybe he may not be able to make it through the season. If that's not the case, then you want those other guys, getting those reps. So, yeah, I think they'll be fine.
I'm more concerned with his interior offensive line. It's already lost its center and has 2 guards that are a little bit iffy, and then the backup center left practice the other day. So they got some issues in the middle of that offensive line over there in Tampa. NFL storylines from last night. Again, we talked about this in the first hour. What's your interest in preseason football? And if you're a Titans fan, last night was really fun because Malik Willis is a guy that you drafted, not sure what you've got in him, and he went out there and did exactly the highlight level stuff that you would want to see in a game that doesn't count for anything at all. Malik Willis made a ridiculous scramble for a touchdown where he, to run 20 yards, he ended up running 40, going to both sides of the field, making a guy miss, kind of jumping into the end zone. He threw a bomb to Racing McMath for 40-something yards, and then made a silly little running sidearm against his body throw to a guy in the flat that was super athletic, very Mahomes-esque. So again, a game that doesn't count, but Malik Willis showed you a little athleticism yesterday.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were talking about earlier in the show. That's what gets the fans out of their seat in the preseason. You got to get the young guy who hadn't played much and give them something to look forward to, give them a little sunshine and rainbows. And I think that's exactly what Malik gave them last night, and a guy who can, obviously, we know what he can do with his legs, but if he's got to be throwing the ball down the field, mixing that in there with him, then he can make himself a nice little career here, and I think he can put a little pressure on Tannehill, who hasn't really been an overachiever throughout his time at quarterback in the NFL. So Malik's, that he's very exciting to watch play, and so if he can continue to string plays together like that, he could possibly challenge Tannehill this season.
It's a totally different type of player. There's no doubt about that. Tonight's games: Falcons, Lions. That's on NFL Network. Browns, Jags, Cardinals, and Bengals. Jets, Eagles, Packers, and 49ers. Also on NFL Network tonight. Then Saturday's action: Chiefs, Bears, Panthers, Commanders, Colts, Bills, Seahawks, and Steelers, Dolphins, Bucks, Saints and Texans, and Cowboys and Broncos. That one on NFL Network. We'll also have Rams, Chargers at 9 o'clock. And then Sunday in the afternoon on NFL Network, the Vikings and the Raiders. So if you are a junkie, if you are Jacob Hester, and you have to have football at all times to sustain life, you will have it in spades this weekend. Just doesn't count for anything. But there's lines on all these games. Looks like the Raiders are laying 4 against the Vikings, if you're into that kind of thing on Sunday. If you're betting in preseason games, man, may the force be with you, and I hope you get rich. But that is a lot of effort to be putting money down on preseason games when you've never heard of any of the guys that are out there. Bailey Zappi last night, 3 for 205 yards. So that's a team without an offensive coordinator. See how that all goes, and I think we've made our point very clear how we think it's going to go. I don't think it's going to go so hot for the Patriots this year, but they did. They came up just short against the Giants. Darn. Don't know what the line was on that one, but it is what it is. Let's come back and close out a Friday edition, a work week here on Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC often says our state is loved. It ought to be admired as well. And so they're doing their best to highlight some of the most admirable people and businesses in our great state. And this champion of Louisiana, Galen Iverstein, certainly is that.
Yeah, Galen founded and owns and operates a full butcher shop and smokehouse in Baton Rouge. And as the owner of Iverstein Farm Butcher, Galen brings sustainable, locally raised meats directly to Louisiana consumers, enabling customers to connect with local farms and expanding opportunities for farmers who cultivate and support Louisiana's land has been a decade-long goal. With a background in sustainable farming, Galen identifies and supports farms with practice these methods by giving them a platform that expands their reach.
Look, Galen is so great for our economy. He's great for our taste buds, and he is great for the state and what he's doing with the sustainable farming, all local right here in the great state of Louisiana. Iverstein Farms Butcher recently relocated. They got a larger location now, and that allows Galen the opportunity to expand his mission in new ways, introduce more people to the importance of sustainable and local food right here in the state of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana each and every month. This month, all month long, we are celebrating Galen Iverstein. This month's champion of Louisiana, LWCC, is Louisiana loyal.
This week on DropBiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out NewOrleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
Bayou Ford has $14,000 off MSRP on a new 2021 Ford F-150. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hours return, and we'll tell you what to keep an eye on in the preseason opener with the Saints and Texans. Join us, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Citizens Bank poll question of the day. How much interest do you have in NFL preseason games? Only 2% of you say can't miss them. That's refreshing. 4% say that you'll bet on it, so you're going to watch it. 47% say they'll watch some, and 47% say they will watch absolutely none. An overwhelming majority of just a little bit of apathy towards preseason football, which is understandable. So we'll see. We'll see some football this weekend. I'll watch a little bit of the Saints, see how things go. I just can't promise you I'm going to block out 3.5 hours for it. Can't promise you that.
You and me both.
All right, let's do some take it or leave it to start to finish things up on this work week. Bill Belichick has decided to go double duty, offensive coordinators and play calling in the first preseason game. Lions coach Matt Patricia, former Giants coach Joe Judge, both calling some plays. Two guys who have never calling plays, a disaster. Take it or leave it.
I have to take this. Normally, I got to give Bill credit for being, a genius, one of the trailblazers to things we haven't seen before. But this, I just think this is going to end in a disaster. You got a second-year quarterback with not a real number one threat on the outside. I just don't think that offense is going to be very good this year on top of two guys. I think LSU fans just saw that last year. How well did two guys calling plays go for the Tigers last year?
No.
I don't think very well. So I'm going to have to, forfeit my support for the two guys calling plays. So I'm going to leave this. I think this – well, actually, I'll take this. I think this is going to end in disaster. All righty, here. Netflix, they're releasing a documentary, The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist, to document Monte's T.I.'s made-up girlfriend. You taking or leaving that?
I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean, this story where he falls in love with someone he's never seen before, Lene Kakua. I've watched some of Catfish in my spare time, which is a sad admission. People, let's have some face-to-face with people that we quote-unquote love and are falling in love with. Maybe not as much keyboard love as maybe a little bit of face-to-face. We got FaceTime. We got Skype now. If they say that they don't want to see you or can't see you or don't have the technology to see you, they're probably full of it. Let's not say we're in love with them. But I'm gonna go for this. Got a guy on a college campus, Mr. All-American, falling in love with fake people on the internet. I might watch it. I'm just saying that might be something I look at. KJ Jefferson, Arkansas's quarterback, says the Hogs are looked at as dirt under the rug because they're always being slept on. Hogs, dirt under the rug. Take it or leave it.
I guess. I mean, for me, myself, I'm going to take this because I just never felt threatened by Arkansas at all in any capacity. But for KJ, I'll leave it, because, look, you guys are getting a lot more respect than you've ever gotten. Got both your coordinators back. Coach Pittman's getting some love for the backs. And then you get to run through Texas. So, I mean, come on. Come on, KJ.
Were
it's
you
not
on the
as
field
bad.
when Jennings hit Durrell down the sideline?
Yes, I was on the field for that. Yes, I was.
I was on the sideline, and it was right to me. There's some good pictures on the internet of me watching that, and Jennings uncorked that thing up in the air, and he threw it basically right towards me. And I looked to my right down the sideline, and there's Traven running. There's nobody near him. I was like, oh, my God. And there he went for a touchdown. That was when we thought that,
Yeah, that's probably the scaredest I've been of Arkansas because, like, I was the whole time. It felt like the ball was in the air for probably 10 seconds, and the whole time, like, don't drop this, Traven.
How was Jennings when he came in? Was he, like, ready to go, or was he a little terrified?
Looks like a deer in headlights, but, I got to commend him. I mean, he went on a 99-yard drive.
Yeah.
I think that's not something that's talked about, backed up on your own pylon. Down a score, got to get the touchdown or you lose, and he found a way to get it done. Had me cheering. I thought we were going to spread the ball around that bowl game. I ended up with 30 carries, but hey, not complaining about that either. All right, last one here. The Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds, they soaked in the experience of the Field of Dreams as the Cubs won 4-2 with Drew Smiley saying he felt like a kid again playing baseball in the middle of Iowa. The Field of Dreams is one of the best spectacles in sports. Take it or leave it.
That's maybe strong, so I'll leave it, but it's really cool, and I think it works, and I think that if you it's such a small facility and such a small crowd that I don't think people will get sick of it if you continue to change the fan bases up. They've now done White Sox, Yankees, and then Cubs, Reds. If you put the Cardinals, the Royals in there, some teams that can get there pretty quick. I don't know how far Detroit is, but if you can get some, I think it works. I think you can continue to do it. The field looks incredible. The corn, and then you've got the actual Field of Dreams house over there. They got kids playing on the Field of Dreams field. It's really cool. I mean, last year's game was unbelievable. Tim Anderson hit a walk-off home run. It was as good as you could.
It was.
Sorry, Yanks. And last night you got a couple of teams that stink. But, I mean, it's just a really cool thing to do one time. I think they should continue to do it and recycle the teams. I don't think people will get sick of it. I think it's just a really cool thing that they do.
Look, my experience with the Field of Dreams game is not very good, so I'm probably asking the wrong person. But this year I had no, dogs in the fight, so yeah, you could easily enjoy it this year. But last year, look, we needed that game.
Maybe take it easy on the Harry Carey holograms, which they had for the 7th inning stretch. I don't know if that necessarily worked as well, but the whole the Field of Dreams thing with the big barn in the outfield works really well. I think they should stick with it. I thought it was really, really cool. Something I would like to go see one day. That's a great movie. One of the few movies that I've actually seen. So we'll leave that at that. All right. Anything as we wrap up here to watch with Saints and Texans tomorrow?
Yeah. I think what we said. I want to see what the quarterbacks do. I want to see if Olave gets some burn. I would love to see him go deep one time. And then I want to see the backs. I know they're going to get a ton of attention. I know Kamara's probably not going to get any type of carries.
Nope.
I don't think Ingram's going to get much either. So let's see what those young backs can do, and I'll go from there.
I'm going to see Trevor Penning, see what he's got over there at left tackle. I'd imagine he's going to get a lot of snaps. We'll certainly talk to Sharif next Tuesday, Luke next Thursday. And the Saints had this game against Houston, which is what it is. It's going to be a lot of guys who very well might not make the roster. But then next week, you crank it up a notch because they're going to be playing the Packers in 3 practices, and then they'll play those guys in what's now become the most impactful game on the schedule in the preseason, which is the second one of 3. So next week, things really ramp up for the Saints, and we'll certainly be out there at LSU fall practice as well. That'll do it for us for the work week. If you missed any of the show today, on demand, catch it, 1045ESPN.com, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It is all there. YouTube people, if y'all want to throw us a like, T-Bob after likes this morning immediately got like 20. I would love it if we got 20 extra likes. That'd be fantastic. Beat T-Bob. Do it against T-Bob. How about that? If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand. We started with some NFL and college football talk. Saints, Texans, Ryan Schimpf in the first hour. Angel Oak Home Loans bringing you that lunch hour. Matt's going to drive you home today from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. Have the boys with the early line coming at you next. Have a wonderful, safe, and happy weekend. Football's coming. Just get through a couple more. We'll see you on Monday. It's Hunt and Hill.